Welcome to Chem 106S. This video will be a brief introduction to the Quality Assurance Orientation Unit and an introduction to the Apple Laboratory. The goals and objectives as we work on this first couple weeks of the course is really to get an introduction to the environmental analysis industry and to highlight some of the differences that you'll see this semester in an industry laboratory and how that's different from academic. That's going to be an ongoing recurring theme as we go through the entire course. You're going to get your first piece of it this time. We're going to go into a fair amount of detail about some key Apple policies and procedures. It's critical that we follow these procedures closely throughout the semester as part of being a good citizen and being part of the Apple experience. In order to do that, you're going to need to understand a fair amount about quality control, quality assurance, and there's a series of videos that will supplement what you see in your textbook to sort of introduce you to these concepts. And some of the key themes from these are going to be talking about sampling plans, sample preparation, how that connects into the standard operating procedures, and the method validation that goes into place to establish these standard operating procedures in the laboratory. So those are some of the things that we're going to be heading towards in the course as far as the lab content. The lecture content is going to be handled through a series of workbooks, and the first bit of the lecture content is going to focus on Chapter 1 in the Robinson book that's looking at, it's titled Introduction to Instrumental Analytical Chemistry. And there's some things in that section that are going to be important. Some of the things I want you to think about as you go through this is what is analytical chemistry, how do we know what we know, and how do we know that our data is good? And that's really what quality assurance is about. And the parts of this first chapter that are really important that you get in detail are the notion of the statistics and data handling, how we perform measurements, how we assess the quality of data. Some of the sample preparation stuff is important at this stage in context, but we're going to come back to it when we get to the extraction unit and go into some of the specific techniques and the trade-offs at that time. So that part of the chapter you still want to be familiar with, but it isn't as critical at this time. As we go through this unit, we're going to do a new employee orientation on the first day, and the reading that you're going to need to get through is you're going to need to read the entire Apple Safety Manual. You should have done that before the first day of class. You're going to need to read the entire Apple Quality Assurance Manual. Again, you should have done that before the first day of class, but I'll caution you on the Quality Assurance Manual. It's not really going to make sense till you have to do it. You'll get some of the details, and you should be familiar with some of the terms and what's in the manual, but it will really come into focus as we go through the semester. Both of those documents are on Blackboard. The standard operating procedure for method 2120B, the apparent color in water by visual comparison, that's going to be provided in print copy on the first day of class. Like the safety manual and the quality assurance manual, that's a Apple business document, and we need to protect it, but these are controlled print copies, and we'll talk about that some the first day. You should also be reading Robinson Chapter 1. That's the undergraduate instrumental analysis book we'll be using for the course. And as I mentioned, you can focus on the other sections. You should still go through the sample preparation section, but that's not as critical for this unit. In the lab, some of the basic deliverables is on the second day of class we'll be meeting with the Earth and Environmental Science, I think it's 31 course, the environmental science students, and together you'll be developing a sampling protocol to address project goals between the two courses. And then on our own in the lab, you'll need to complete a demonstration of capability for method 2120B. All of our demonstration of capabilities you'll be completing as your lab team. The course will be divided up into 4 teams, and each team will submit a separate demonstration of capability. That being said, we're going to turn in one analysis for 2120B on the samples that we take in our first sampling day, and for that result, instead of a ACS format report in the environmental industry, this will be our essential report format. We'll be doing a case narrative, and that's going to note any deviations from the method or key observations, key information. And then behind that will be a data packet that's going to include a lot of printouts from the information management system we'll be using. So it's going to look a little different, but that case narrative and data packet is like our official report for the course. So you'll be turning in that so we can send that to clients. As you go through this unit, think about some bigger picture items. The workbook will have a lot of the details that you need in there, but think about some bigger picture items. How is Apple different from your prior laboratory experience? Is the culture of quality evident in the laboratory? Do you get a different feel for how they look at analytical results than you've seen previously? And is it pervasive? Is it with all employees? And what's your role at Apple in this course, and what's Apple's role in larger questions of environmental sustainability and environmental issues in our communities?